We are now recording our receiver breakdown for 2021's draft for BLEE-BLAH. This is Louis Nisimov and Sean Morrissey.
How's it going, Sean? Everybody.
Yes, this is Sean, everybody. Here's a little song. Yeah. Okay. So cool. Let's talk some wide receivers here. We can.
You want to do it like division by division, or do you want to just like do like the top, like a top 5 or like top 10?
I was just about to ask you if you wanted to do it by division again, because I think we started off doing running back by division last time, and then we kind of just got into really just the thick of it.
Well, there's a lot more there's a lot more wideouts than there are running backs. So I mean, it's the segment that we do, like it might take it might take a week or two to do. You know what I mean? Because I mean, usually there's only like a running back or two, and then right now there's like 3 receivers usually just talk about for every team. So it might take a little bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we can squeeze it into just this show so we can kind of move along because we're getting close to the regular season here.
Yeah.
Because actually, I talked to Tate tonight. He got Matt Julian in the league, actually, believe it or not, and somehow Sleeper like glitched out and put his team in twice. So we didn't know if it was like something he had done and he was going to try to get a hold of him. But I actually went in there and tried to just remove one of the teams myself. So I got me, you, and Tate as commissioners on the Sleeper app. But I tried to remove Julian and just one of them, and it took 2 of them out. Also, we got to reinvite him now. We're waiting on Cammy, and then we're waiting on Mike Ruczynski and Steek. So
Okay.
those people still got to join up, but Tate's in charge of that. And then I am actually going to see him, like I was telling you, I'm actually going to go with him to Modest Mouse instead of my sister, because I talked to him today and I brought it up and he was like, oh, well, maybe I'll go. I'm like, well, why don't you just go with me instead of Soap, because it'll just be easier for me. My brother's getting married on Saturday.
Like the next day, Saturday?
Yeah, exactly. Saturday.
Nice.
I think I initially asked you, and you're like, "Yeah, I'm not sure, possibly." And I was like, "Oh well." So then I started.
Yeah. It's fine, man. No worries. I mean, I usually get like really tied up with my money or whatever, like early in the week anyway. So it's like by the time the weekend rolls around, I'm barely like scraping by. So it'd probably be hard anyway.
Well, I mean, I would have, the ticket would have been on me, but other than that, yeah, I mean, even still, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I mean, and you've been busy with like other things too. So
yeah, it's no worries.
But yeah, speaking of that, I'll meet with Tate and we're gonna talk, obviously a little bit about fantasy league and whatnot, and yeah. So we'll get everybody in, and we don't have much time left. Honestly, it's going to be a couple of weeks, and we'll be drafting, and it'll all be underway. So that being said, yeah, you can do it by division if you want, but I mean, realistically, I think it'd be easier just to kind of do them by skill level, by tiers, if you will. So I've been looking them over actually before I met with you tonight. I guess we could just go with who's in your top 10.
Yeah.
Top 25.
I'll do a top. I'll do a top 3 like right off the bat, like for fantasy this year.
Okay.
I'd say my top 3 are probably gonna be Devontae Adams, Packers, Tyreek Hill, Chiefs, and Stephon Diggs for the Bills. Those are my top 3.
Yeah, that's, you know what, I'm gonna have to also agree with that.
Yeah,
I don't.
Yeah. I mean, those guys have like dynamite quarterbacks throwing them the ball, and they're like the clear cut like number 1 option on their offenses. So it's like, I don't know, like for whether it's regular football or fantasy football, it's like man, those guys, like as long as they're healthy, I mean they're going to put up big numbers this year. I feel like, but
Yeah,
you never can be too sure in football because there's always like the injury variants, and there's also like other suspensions that could happen. But like those three are like the clear top three right now, I think.
I agree. I could see. I would say those are my top three, and then I would go ahead to be comfortable to put Metcalf, DK Metcalf, and DeAndre Hopkins into my top five as my top five.
Okay.
And if I'm gonna go in order, I would say it's gonna be Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins, and then DK Metcalf to round out my five. Um, like I said, obviously I'm not going out on a limb with really any of those guys, but especially the top three, I have to agree with. Whether you think one's better than the other, I'm not really
Yeah.
sure. Obviously Rogers coming back, completely confirmed now. Ever since the last time we talked, it was kind of more like all those trade rumors were circulating, but you seem to be already convinced, which is kind of cool that you kind of knew. Um, Outside of all the speculation that that was the way it was going to go, just based off of kind of like mathematical football factors, like
Yeah.
you were explaining it, kind of just broke it down in simpler terms, not even just like who was saying what.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah. Then looking at after those, what do you? How do you feel about Metcalf and Hopkins? Do you feel like they're strong picks as well? By the way,
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like those guys as like top 10 guys. I don't know. I may have like personally, I may have like some other guys in my top five or whatever, like right after the top three that I just named.
would you be thinking
So
about AJ Brown?
no, I don't really like AJ Brown for my top five. I mean, I don't know. He's definitely like top 10 though. I think maybe top 15. I don't know. I'm just like personally, I'm not a big AJ Brown fan, just because I don't know Tennessee's offense is more like run oriented. And he's probably only going to get like like 60 or 70 catches. I mean, he'll probably get 1,000 yards and 7 or 8 touchdowns if he's healthy. But I'm not as big a fan as AJ Brown just because of the offense that he's in compared to some of the other guys that where they throw the ball around a little bit more.
Yeah, no, it makes sense, especially with the run
Yeah,
oriented thing and just Tennessee's history in
mm-hmm.
general. But
Yeah,
if there was any guy to do it, and there was any guy to make that
yeah,
jump from a type of football playing style, I think it would be AJ Brown this year to maybe
yeah.
be able to do that with how good he is. And
Yeah, another guy that I don't know, probably not a top five guy, but I know a guy that I like in my top 10 is the Pittsburgh receiver Deontay Johnson. I think with Big Ben coming back healthy this year, and the Steelers have like a true number one running back now. Like I think that he's really going to have a really big year. They also have some other wideouts who are probably going to be pretty good too, but I really like Deontay Johnson in the draft this year
yeah,
for
that's an
Pittsburgh.
interesting point because he kind of really came onto the scene big time last year.
Mm.
And Pittsburgh almost always has like a wide receiver
Oh
that's
yeah,
just kind of in the fantasy
oh yeah,
um
yeah.
uh,
Hines Ward,
yeah.
Emmanuel Sanders, Antonio Brown.
Yeah, it's almost like as long as Roethlisberger's been there, it's been a thing
Yeah,
for one
yeah.
of Pittsburgh Steelers to be a must-have
Plexico
guy.
Bur Plexico
Santonio
Burris.
Holmes,
Yes, Antonio Holmes is
and
another one. Yep.
they kind of just come in and out like that too. So it could definitely be Deontay Johnson's year to shine for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. I like him a lot for a top 10.
I like that pick as long as Benny the Roth stays healthy, though. With
Mm. Yep.
something to consider as he gets older and
Mm.
just he does get banged up and as you do as a quarterback. I'm just saying like I think that the health of Ben Roethlisberger might be a little bit more in question than some other quarterbacks since he's just
Yeah.
getting up there in the years. I really like obviously Justin Jefferson too. To just have that potential to be, I'd put him in my top 10 for sure. Honestly, I think I don't know exactly where he would land, probably closer to 10, but I really think he's gonna have a great season too. I think he's just gonna come out and do what he did last year. Um,
Yeah, I like the Vikings offense a lot this year.
yeah,
If everybody stays healthy, I mean they drafted a couple offensive linemen. They have, in my opinion, one of the top 2 or 3 running backs in the league in Delvin Cook. So yeah,
yeah,
if they're able to stay balanced, I mean, no matter who they have at wideout, I mean, they're definitely going to be an offense that's going to be a problem for a lot of defensive coordinators this year if all their guys are healthy.
yeah, absolutely. Um, a guy who I'd like to ask you what you feel about, and I know he's talented, just because I've seen some tape of McLaurin for Washington. Just was
Mm-hmm.
wondering where you would put him as far as he's looking like the high end, or excuse me, the better the or the top end, the good side of the
Mm-hmm.
tier, however many ways you want to say it, the good side of tier number 3, at least on
Yeah.
fantasypros.com.
Yeah.
How do you feel about him this year?
Yeah. I like McLaurin a lot. I mean, I think he's definitely like, he's definitely in the conversation for the top 10, but just because last year was like his only year, I still think you have to put him on the outside of the top 10. Um, I think he definitely has the potential though to get up there, maybe even be a top 7 or 8 fantasy point getter, because he's like a clear number 1 option for Washington, and they have a new quarterback coming in that's probably going to be a little bit more accurate with the football than they've
Yeah,
had in recent years.
yeah,
So
Fitz is pretty good as long as you
yeah,
are a
yeah,
talented athlete.
yeah.
He's pretty good at utilizing that as far as
Yeah, and Washington has a really strong running back too, Gibson. So they could actually have a really sneaky team this year if they're able to stay healthy. Because like between the defense and the run game, I mean, you can be a pretty tough football team to play against if you got those 2 things going for you. And they definitely have a pretty talented number 1 receiver too. But it might take a little bit of figuring out with the new quarterback, but definitely think Washington is their arrow is pointing up overall.
yeah, definitely some good things going for him. But it's always a little bit of a concern when you know a quarterback's brand new.
Yeah.
Sometimes a good thing, sometimes not. But yeah, like you said, Gibson, he's going to be, in that same range as when people are taking him as far as running backs. It looks like he's
Oh
kind of
yeah. I mean,
also in that.
I'd even think Gibson's like a top 8 running back, or at least that's where I'd take him in my top 8. But it's a different conversation.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely hey, there it is. As we are speaking, Mike Guy has joined the sleeper league. There we go. Bam. So now we have Julian on the hook. That blur effect is so funny. It's like it's like you were involved in some kind of like gang on one of those things. We're like, yeah, I used to sell drugs, and like because it's
Oh,
like sometimes it's like where you turn, I don't know, just that look, that camera look right now. It's pretty funny. It looks like you're like undercover. That there, you're closer to the light there, but it doesn't matter, man. I'm just joking around. I'm just trying to see if you're still alive over there. But yeah, Mike's in the league. And so now at this point, if we get Matt back in after I just kicked 2 of his teams out, then we're literally just waiting on the fraudulent Steak and then KMA, who's pretty much a lock. And then I hate to say this on air, but we'll just edit this out. But it looks like Baxter's going to get the boot because we now have a new edition of Luke the Beast, and that's what me and Tate decided. I guess it's horrible, but we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. It's feel bad, but
yeah. It's only 1 year, so things can change.
Yeah, things can change. God damn it.
it's pretty funny, man. I've been listening. I have so much downtime at work and doing medical transport at midnight that I've listened to both of our Crudcast back. So like I'd be like, oh, I got an hour drive coming up, you know what I mean? So like I'll play it and like
Yeah.
listen to what we have to say. There's some fairly good insight. And I also like how we deviate and differentiate than like all the pros. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how you feel differently about certain guys and I do. It's kind of cool to hear that this year before we draft. I mean, if you ever get a chance to listen to them back, I think they're as much fun as we've had the last couple of times, I think. They're still insightful a little bit. So yeah, Gibson, for sure. And then we're speaking about receiver today, though, so I don't want to get too sidetracked on
Yep.
on his future. And you know, everybody's just gonna have to do their own research on running back. Okay, so let's just bring it over to CeeDee Lamb, if you will. I liked CeeDee Lamb last year enough to have him on my team, and I thought like my thinking was last year, of course, before Prescott got injured, was he could definitely be one of those guys that has those like 25, 30-point games if he starts catching the long ball a little bit. And I've watched his highlight reel. Actually, it's still like fresh in my mind. I'm really crazy about CeeDee Lamb. If I can get him, I'm going to try to take him. I think I definitely put him in the top 15. I was just wondering what your feelings on CeeDee Lamb this are with Prescott coming back.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing about Prescott. He's had a shoulder injury, so he's not like 100% healthy right now. So
He got dinged up again.
Yep. So yeah, I don't know. The Dallas quarterback situation is not as trustworthy as you would hope it to be. But man, if he is healthy, though, I mean, they have three wideouts that you're probably going to want on your team in some capacity, and Gallup, Amari Cooper, and CeeDee Lamb. If he
Cooper as well. I mean, yeah.
If he is healthy, because I mean those guys are going to be out there, and yeah, the Cowboys. I mean they still have the running back or whatever, but it seems like Elliott has gotten a little bit I don't know, a little
sluggish.
Yeah. I mean he's been in the league like 5 years now, but yeah, he's not as explosive as he used to be. So he's a little bit easier to bring down. I mean the guy that I had last year, I mean he was pretty good, but yeah, I mean, obviously Lamb. Yeah, I think you're right on. Somewhere in the top 15, maybe top 20 for Lamb. But I like Cooper a little bit more for the Cowboys.
I mean, they're kind of neck and neck. I mean, they both are going to be. I agree. I think if I had to pick one over the other, I don't know why I just brought up CeeDee Lamb randomly there. I just kind of was seeing what she thought. It says Dallas Cowboys Prescott is set to get another MRI on his injured shoulder, but is still on track to start week 1 against Tampa Bay. So looks like he's good for the most part in the world of the NFL.
Yeah.
You know how it goes when they say, well, he's clear for week 1. But still definitely concerning. A shoulder's never good for a quarterback.
Yeah, especially if it's a throwing shoulder. I mean, that could be major, big time bad news. But
yeah,
hopefully he's all right. Though. He's fun to watch.
Also have some more news here. It says Eatman points out that Dak hasn't experienced a setback and that he has resumed some light throwing earlier this week. Prescott says his main goal with this injury is to not let it linger. From all accounts, it appears Prescott is a go to start the season, and the team is just being cautious. So, but it's typical for football players to downplay it.
Yeah.
So you never know. But it looks pretty good as far as like you still got to take a chance on that kind of injury. But yeah, not the greatest thing in the world at the same time. Any other receivers? Let's see. You want to talk about? We've kind of talked about your top 5. What about your kind of like tier 2 receivers? Who's in
tier 2? Some of the guys I really like this year are number 1 for me would in that tier 2 would be Allen Robinson for Chicago.
Yeah, I know you're definitely a big guy, Allen Robinson guy.
I mean he's
awesome.
Whoever they have at quarterback, I mean they're going to be feeding him the ball like all year. So
it's looking like Fields is making his way downtown. Like he's homebound. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He had a slow start. I watched a lot of the highlights in the first preseason game for the Bears, and it was definitely a little bit of a slow start, but he definitely got it going against some of their backups. And I mean, you can see why a lot of people are excited about Fields. I mean, he was a really exciting player in college, and Yeah, the Bears they do have some weapons. They have the tight end that they took out of Notre Dame a year ago, and they got the running back too, who's in his third year now, Montgomery.
Who's that tight end again?
His name's Cole Kmet.
Yeah, I always thought it was Kimmett, but it was Kmet. Thank you. Yeah, he's all right.
Yeah, Kmet.
I think he's definitely a strong college player, and then kind of.
Oh yeah. Just a big target. Yeah, big target, like a guy that can just get over the middle and get you like 7 or 8 yards, and that's pretty much like all you're looking for a tight end, unless you have like one of those top tight ends that can do a little bit more than that. But I don't think that guy's like one of those guys. But
yeah,
I could be wrong about that, but.
As crazy as it is to say, it seems like no matter what, especially since you had mentioned Fields is already getting some preseason snaps, I kind of just see them going with that, the way Chicago is running things. I don't know. I see Fields playing early, just the kind of athlete he is, and I've been watching actually some of his tape, which actually made me more confident in him than I was before. But. Yeah. That being said, I don't know if it's a done deal or not. I don't know if he's got the start for week 1.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be Dalton for the Bears week 1.
Yeah, it would make sense. It would make sense. It'd definitely be the easy, safe play for sure, especially with Dalton's pass. But we'll see what they do. It could be interesting for you as a Bears fan, by the way, because you know it's always a weird year when they're back and forth between QBs. That there's never really been a team to pull that off.
They haven't had a quarterback since Sid Luckman back in like the 40s or 50s or something like that.
Come on, guy. What about what's his face? Crying Cutler.
Well, he was like one of the best quarterbacks they ever had, but they never won a championship though.
Yeah, they did not, and he was always crying. That was the problem. I mean, that was Cutler's problem. Was like he was an amazing talent, but his ego was like, in Brandon Marshall too. It was just like
they had at one point they had Marshall, they had Alshon Jeffrey, and they had Matt Forte.
Anyways, while we reminisce about the NFL, let's bring it back to your tier 2. So you like the Cruddy the Robinson and
Allen Robertson, another guy I'd put like right in the very top of the tier 2, like maybe even knocking on the door for tier 1 would be Calvin Ridley for Atlanta.
I definitely say yes. He's in my tier 2 for sure.
Julio Jones is gone now for Atlanta. I know Matt Ryan's like 37 now, but like he can still sling it around a little bit. And like, I don't know, you look at the rest of their receivers and like, I don't know, like it doesn't really look like they're gonna have too many other like really like big like game breaking guys. But I don't know, Ridley is definitely one of those guys I think that you're gonna want like out there.
Well, I think it's also important to mention that Kyle Pitts is coming in. So you have
he's not really a receiver though. I mean he's like an Antonio. I mean he will be a receiver, but I don't know. We're talking about wideouts though.
No, but it was for that reason why I actually think it'll add to the strength of Matt Ryan in that Atlanta offense. I think it'll just be he was just such a clear cut top tight end that I think just that addition alone just kind of relieves some pressure on the rest of the offense. You know what I mean? Allows them to do more things. Kind of how you were saying, Matt Ryan can still sling it. I mean, he really can't. I mean, if you give him a lot, you go back a couple of years. I mean, Atlanta's correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't they in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I think it was like 3 years ago or 4 years. I forget.
But still, they were at that level at one point.
Yeah. They were right there, and they absolutely blew it. Yeah,
they did. They were dominating offensively, though. Once again, correct me if I'm wrong. So I think I like the addition at the tight end there to Ridley's case is what I'm saying. I think he actually does better because it's a tight end and not another what. Anyway,
we'll see how good their run game is though. It kind of looks like Atlanta. Some of the other parts of their offense is not going to be as great this year. So
are you talking about their O-line?
Well, just that and their run game in general, like Atlanta. I mean, some teams you kind of want to stack like as many guys as you can, like on offense. But Atlanta's is like it definitely looks like it's going to be. It might be another long year in Atlanta for them, but I could be wrong though.
No, I mean, you're definitely honest. I mean, it's never, we don't know until we start the
Yeah.
show. But
Yeah.
I personally am gonna have to take Ridley. Like put it, at least if I'm ranking him, I definitely put him. But and this is just
Somewhere between 6 and 10 is where I'd rank him.
yeah, I definitely say he's in my top
Yeah.
15 for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not
6
sure
and 10.
put him if I put him there, but most people are. But personally, I kind
Yeah.
of like where I'm sitting at is like I said, it's kind of like Adams, Hill, Diggs,
Yep.
Metcalf, Jefferson, Hopkins, uh, AJ Brown, and then I like. Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, at that point, I know Keenan Allen's on the radar at that point, but I don't know. I think at that point you kind of put Ridley up there because just looking at the other
Yeah.
receivers, you're basing it off of like, all right, who's my
Yeah. I
number
mean,
one?
he's gonna he might lead the league in targets though.
That's what I
That's
was
the
gonna,
thing. I
and
mean, sometimes
that's
I mean
exactly
like
it. It's a
yeah,
volume thing. It's like whether you know
yeah,
what I mean, based off of like you playing out the season and the guys are where they are. I think at the end of the day, like it's kind of a safe pick as far as he's going to get. Yeah, like you said, targets, volume. Just they're going to be throwing the ball his way a lot, and
yeah.
the outcome of Atlanta's year is going to be different. But I still think Ridley gets a lot of action regardless of any of that. Um, cool. So you know, I still like Mike Evans this year. But after having him last year, I'm gonna. I don't know. I put him in my top 20, but
Yeah, it's
it's
just tough, because Tom Brady, it's another year older, and like they still have a couple wideouts, and I think they still have Gronk too, right?
I believe so. Let me go check that. Yes, I want to
Yeah,
say yes, 100%. But let me
yeah,
just since we're
yeah. So I mean, Antonio Brown is like he's still there. He's a year removed from his
yeah.
escapades that he was
I
on.
mean he's a whole
And they
nother.
and
Gronk
they still
Gronk is back, by the way.
and they still have Chris Godwin too. So I mean, I don't know. It's just
Yeah, I
you
like
what
Godwin this year.
you want to keep on believing with Brady, but like eventually you're going to be right, and like I don't know, he's just going to run out of bullets. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah,
really
it's if there was one
I
man, if was there one man to
yeah.
finish strong, it might be Brady though. He might take one more to the playoffs or something like that, and just be
Yeah,
like,
I don't
"That's
know.
my last year."
I think his last hurrah was last year. So I'm going to
Well,
say
this might actually
I'm gonna say the
be
Bucks will not make the playoffs this year. That's one of my bold predictions.
all right. That keeps the show interesting. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Let's see other guys in your tier two before we move into the
Yeah, I
second
mean,
ranking.
some of the other guys to think about are definitely like Odell Beckham for Cleveland. He's coming back from injury, ACL injury. I think he tore his knee in like week 3, so he's had the surgery like right after that, and then he's had like basically a whole year to like rehab it. So, I mean, he was like before he left. I mean, he was kind of disappointed with like what they got out of him because they thought he was going to be a top 5 guy, and he was a top 5 guy. He was a top 3 guy with with the Giants before they traded him. But I mean, Odell Beckham coming back. I mean, I still like the talent a lot. Whether they can make it work with the quarterback or not, that remains to be seen. But he's definitely a guy that's going to be in my top 2, top 3 tier there.
Can you
No,
see my screen that I'm sharing here with you?
yep, yeah, I see that.
Okay, cool. I just
Yep.
figured why not.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely helpful. Yeah, I
the
mean,
guys that
everybody's got like the same like top 30 or whatever, but like a lot of people just have them picked in different spots.
Yeah, it's just for the guys at home. I did it for. It's
Yeah,
like eventually it'll be like just me and you talking.
yeah.
And
Another guy that I'd put in my top like tier 2 or tier 3 guy that I like a lot. Who's if he's healthy, he's like guaranteed for 1,000 yards and like 7 or 8 touchdowns. Is Thielen.
Yep. Yeah, like
For
Thielen.
Minnesota. I mean, he's just rock solid every year, and you can just kind of bank on that production if he's healthy.
Yeah, Thielen made their wide receiver
Yeah.
podcast here. I was watching as I was waiting on you.
Yeah.
I've been watching this guys on if you ever get a chance, this same website I'm on, the Fantasy Pros has their own YouTube channel, and they cover like a lot of different ways to look at the draft. So this one's just all about wideouts. Um, and I've also been watching there. It seems like on YouTube now, and then I'm actually almost 100% sure, but on YouTube you can look at the training camp footage for almost every team. So like
Yeah.
Green Bay has like their own channel, the Dolphins, like I'm pretty sure it's every NFL team has like their own YouTube
Oh,
station
interesting.
now. Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool because I think we're moving away from this ESPN, cable TV world, and they're
Yeah.
finally starting to like take advantage of like all the equipment that they have. You know, we have more technology and cameras than we ever have before, so I think they're able to kind of, and they want that YouTube view nowadays. They're actually going for it. You know what I mean? The team makes
Yeah.
money off of doing things like that.
Yeah.
So it's been cool. Yeah, you could check out I've been watching some of the Bear stuff. So that's why I was coming from where I'm coming from with Fields is like there's a lot of conversation about Fields right now. So I know what you mean with Dalton, and I think that the best move if I'm the coach, I put in Dalton so Fields can kind of see what it's like first, and then kind of put him in when you're ready. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, Dalton's going to start multiple weeks for the Bears to start out. I mean, unless they start like 0-3 or 0-4, that's pretty much the only way I see them going to Fields like really early in the year, unless there's an injury or something.
Yeah, I mean, have you actually looked into like the coaches talking about it? Have they verbally said anything to the reporters yet on who's going to start? And
Not really. It's more of just kind of like an overall feeling, like just like watching the tape or whatever, and kind of looking at some of the highlights. Again, I don't really watch a lot of like the interviews and whatnot. Like I'll definitely like read like what the reports say like after practice, and then like what the coaches say about some of the things like afterwards. But it's more just like articles and stuff, and it's not like the actual interviews. But I do understand there is a lot of information that you can get out of like what they have to say after like games and like practices and stuff like that.
cool. So also one guy in this tier 2 that I feel like we didn't mention, and I think someone, especially the people out there on the closer to the West Coast, are going to nab is this man right here, Keenan Allen, who I've almost skipped over for whatever reason for like the last 5 years, but he seems to kind of always show up as far as volume and yardage and things like that. So last year, let's see, 992. Looking at his numbers last year, really quick here.
I don't think
But
he
I
had
mean, look at
1,000
those yards.
last year.
Look at those yards he's racked up over the years. You know what I mean? So
not a big touchdown guy though. You know what I mean?
when he first came into the league, though, and see that's how far my brain goes back is like 2013. You think of Keenan Allen right off the bat, where he was just like awesome, right? Then he kind of faded. Yeah, I mean, 2016 was a horrible year where he must have been hurt.
Well, that was the year he tore his knee in the first game of the week of the year.
And then 2015 he got hurt too, must have. And then it's been very productive since then.
Yeah, very very consistent. But you got to remember, like they also had Phillip Rivers all those years too, and like he was a pretty damn good fantasy quarterback to have.
Yeah, he was
all those years.
Did he retire? I think he did, right?
Yes, he did. He's no longer in the pros.
Yeah, it's crazy. I still remember when it was who did the Giants draft? Did they draft Rivers or did they draft Eli? And they ended up picking the right one.
Phillip Rivers and Drew Brees have both retired.
I only said they drafted the right one with Eli too because they got the Super Bowl. Obviously, Rivers, some of his numbers were better over the years.
Two Super Bowls.
Oh, did it really? Eli won 2 Super Bowls?
Yep. Yeah, they beat the Patriots twice.
That's so funny. I didn't remember that. I just remember them winning the one.
Yep. Yeah, the first time they beat them, it was when the Patriots were undefeated.
All right, so let's see here.
And then they beat them like 3 years later.
I know a lot of people are betting on Judy.
You want to talk? You want to talk about like rookie wideouts or like second year wideouts that you like a lot?
Well, speaking
Like,
of that, I don't know what
like
Judy's
some of
in
the younger
here.
guys.
I don't know if it's his second year or not.
Yeah.
It's his.
He was
I
a
like
rookie
his.
last year.
I like the potential there. I'm still just not sold on Denver in general. But last year, kind of in the beginning of the year, I wanted to get on board with Denver. But since the quarterback's the same, right? I'm really not. I like the talent level of some of the wideouts, but I just don't really know what to do as far as like I don't know if I would pull the trigger. As far as my own team. But yeah, how do you feel about Judy and how you feel about Sutton? Speaking of that, since the Judy's a second.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, I mean, it's really tough right now to trust the Broncos quarterback situation. Drew Luck has not really shown a lot in his first couple of years that he's been in the league.
Yeah, I was
Teddy
not impressed.
Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater at this point is like
yes,
he's pretty much what he is. I mean, he's like a journeyman type of like stopgap type of guy. He has shown some promise in the past, but I don't know. He's just he's more or less I don't know, just kind of like a really good backup quarterback to have in the league.
I agree. He's like a great backup. Which is
right,
so funny to be good at something like that, but it's true. Since we're still on this, I guess we're on this 1 year, 2 year guy. Two of them I'm looking at right here that jump off or are popping out to me is Devontae Smith. I really like that pick this year.
Really, man, I'm like the exact opposite way with him.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Exact
so I like
opposite.
That's cool. I mean, I'd be willing to take the bet. I mean, I'm not saying I would take him as my wide out 1 or 2, but for wide receiver 3, I'd love having him on my team as like somebody I might be able to be like, all right, well, I'll just drop him later if it doesn't pan out. Same kind of scenario. I like Shane Alt.
Yeah, he's in his 3rd year now, or maybe it's his 2nd year, and I forget.
And what makes you not like? Okay, go ahead.
I just think I know like he won the Heisman last year, and like he was unbelievable at catching the ball or whatever, and like he's got like really insane.
Is it the quarterback in Philly?
Jalen Hurts. So it's like it's like the guy who used to throw him the ball at Alabama, but I don't know. I think he's too thin. I think he's going to be like injury plagued. He only weighs like 175 pounds, and I think that's just going to be a really big knock on him for his whole career. And I think he has like already gotten hurt. If you like look at some of the news and articles on him, he'll probably start week 1, but I don't know. A lot of guys are really high on this guy, and I'm looking more at the LSU guy that was taken right after him, Chase. And I really like the Minnesota guy that went to Baltimore, Bateman too. I like both those guys more than Smith.
Devonta Smith is out 2-3 weeks with an MCL sprain. Stay tuned. The only concern is can he stay healthy? He's undersized, but blah 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 blah. He wants to be great. He's got the chops to do it. The former Heisman winner. He should make an immediate impact. Blah blah blah. Former Michigan Wolverines, Anthony. Yeah, you know what? I don't know. There's definitely some concerns there. I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually glad I talked to you because, being undersized not good in the NFL, and then MCL sprain. It's not good at all.
Yeah. Especially for a wideout. I mean, your knee like ligaments are like your most important. So
especially at that age where you're kind of just coming in, you're like, Eesh, it's not like a.
But I don't like for me, I'm also not really the biggest Hurts fan either. Like the Eagles like really like have a downgrading quarterback in my mind. Like not having Wentz there anymore. I know Wentz was like banged up for a lot of like his career too, but. I think the Eagles are trending like as a team like downwards.
Yeah, Yeah, I can see that for sure. Let's see here. Is this them talking about him there?
And they also have a whole new coaching staff this year too. So that's also another thing to take into account.
Yeah. I was seeing if I don't know why they don't have on Fantasy Pros like the height and the weight of the player. It's interesting.
He's about 6 foot, like 175 pounds.
Yeah, you just think that'd be something that they would have down there for you to look at.
Yeah.
It'd be really easy just to put that right there.
Or overview, or I'm
yeah,
sure if you
but
like,
it's just like
I'm sure if you like went to NFL.com or something, it'd show it. But yeah, for some reason or another, it's not listed on there. But yeah, he's about 6 foot, 175 pounds though.
Yeah. I mean, shit, man. Expected to miss 2-3 weeks. I mean, we're coming up on it on the debut here. So, he'll probably be ready to play if it's 2 or 3 weeks, but still, it's definitely makes you want to take him maybe a little bit later than you would.
Yeah.
It's good to know. It's probably good to know all your injuries. Speaking of that, Cam Akers went down. So that sucks for people.
Yeah, he's out for the year. He tore his Achilles tendon.
Yeah. I have this guy that I work with. He's been doing fantasy almost actually longer than I have, and he does Dynasty. And he had Cam Akers.
Oh,
so
nice.
He's totally screwed on.
Ouch.
on
Yeah. That's a really big blow for the Rams this year. I mean, they'll probably be all right because they drafted a pretty good wideout, and they signed Deshaun Jackson too.
The thing is that the Rams not backup, but the other guy that the Rams have is now got to be jumping up the charts because he's great. Yeah. So, what's his name? And go over to
Henderson.
I was gonna say Harrison, but I knew that wasn't right. It's Henderson.
Henderson. But
so people will be looking to take him for sure. I will.
He's a lot smaller of a running back though. I mean,
if you watch
Akers,
I know
Akers was a really big running back.
I know you're starting to understand you from this point of view of sizing guys up. But if you have seen if you've seen Smith's highlights, I know you have, but if you have also seen Henderson's highlights. You would know that size is not but he's powerful too. I mean, he's got some clips of like where he's blowing people over, dude. Like I'm not just making that up. Like the guy's he could get you goal line carries for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you're off. I mean, actually, if anything, it's insane how much you remember that stuff. But yeah. Anyways, we'll bring it back over to receiver. I was just a side note on injuries. I mean, just to pay attention for that because there's Cam Akers now, and we've talked about Prescott, we've talked about Hurts, and you've talked about Beckham. There's going to be more before the season starts where you're like, oh, this guy's awesome, and then he gets hurt, and then you can't take him anymore. And then if you're on auto draft, you might get stuck with him. So, anywho. Bringing it back to receiver, I think we've covered kind of tier 1 and tier 2. We've gone over Keenan Allen. I think some of the other guys are really self-explanatory. We could get into them, but let's just not since we do have a long list of receivers and our time is limited. I also think Amari Cooper is a great pick this year. I think I put him ahead of CeeDee Lamb. Where I take him in this tier 3 that you're looking at here, I'm not really sure if I take him. One, I'd like to take Robinson, and I would like I mean, pretty much honestly for me it'd be like Woods, Robinson, Cooper, probably in that order for whatever reason. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Godwin, yeah, I like just kind of as like a sleeper, kind of not really a sleeper kind of sleeper. Just an interesting pick right there. I wonder how he's going to pan out this year. As you said, it kind of depends on how Brady's going to play.
Yeah.
But I think he's just kind of got some breakout potential this year. He's kind of set up for some breakout. I'm trying to look at his stats.
Yeah, out of all the Tampa Bay receivers,
there's the height and the weight. By the way.
Yeah,
I don't know why I was missing on.
It wasn't showing it on
because he was a rookie.
Yeah, I definitely really like Godwin though a lot for like especially touchdowns, just because he's kind of like a bigger guy. I mean, he's not as big as Mike Evans is,
I
but
mean, dude, he's 209 pounds, 6'1".
yeah,
If that's not a big receiver, then what is?
yeah,
I mean, pound for pound, that's a big dude at 6'1". I mean,
yeah.
it'd almost be like a red flag to be at 225 at 6'1". You'd be like kind of chunky. Um, let's see. Last year, I'm just looking at these numbers. Yeah, I mean, I really like these stats going forward for him to be like a breakout guy.
Yeah. I mean, you look at it. It's like every other year he has a big year, and it is just like last year was a little bit down. So this year, I mean, it'll probably be a little bit higher than that. So
And I
yeah,
feel like
I definitely think Godwin's a good bet to get over 1,000 yards.
yeah, I think from having Evans that he kind of stole the show last year with how clutch the plays he made were. It wasn't even just the fact that he was catching touchdowns. It was like a lot of those touchdowns kept Tampa Bay in the game last year throughout the regular season.
Yeah.
So I would, like I said, I like that breakout kind of like maybe teams are kind of queuing up on that, and then they miss out on God when he's able to take off. Anyways, you're looking at Tampa having a shitty year, so maybe you may be staying away from something like that based off of saying, oh well, Tampa, that was a fluke, and maybe it was a COVID Trump.
Yeah, I mean,
Trump 2020.
I still really like I like their running back a lot. I mean, I'm just a little partial because I had Jones on my team last year, so I still like the running back, and obviously Gronkowski will probably be good for at least a couple touchdowns again. So
yeah, I mean, I think Gronk
they'll definitely have some fantasy relevant players this year, but I'm just
absolutely you can't ignore them.
Yeah. For my overall perspective, I'm going against the Bucks this year.
Hey, I'm going against the Jaguars like that, and I actually watched all their YouTube footage and all the hype shit. I just think how much you hype these guys. There's just too many moving parts. And Urban Meyer, I don't know. It's kind of a urban myth, right? As Davies or I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it until I see the proof.
Yeah, it's year one. I mean, it's really hard for college coaches to come right into the NFL and have a lot of success. I mean, you've seen it time and time again. Like even the most successful college coaches. I mean,
it's almost like a Madden curse.
It's really hard because I mean they're like every guy that you're trying to coach up. I mean, they're basically all like millionaires or whatever. So it's like it's like really really hard to get that whatever it is out of them that you can get out of like college players. And it's just
not the same too. Like the guys that have been doing it successfully.
It's a different psyche.
Yeah, like when you're going against guys like McCarthy and you're going against guys like Andy Reid. I mean, you don't
guys
know.
Have been in the NFL for 20 or 30 years.
Right. Like Tomlin, like this is Belichick. Those are those names that have already fought through so much speculation and fought through some really bad losses in the NFL. So like they know what it's like to take the L, come back, and like you said, coach these millionaires up and get the right staff and get everybody winning games, getting the actual W regardless of how ugly things look. I think that's kind of what's part of that element that the college the college coaches aren't ready for is just the challenge of the other coaching staff and what they're going to be going up against is so different from going up against, like when you're playing college football, sometimes those first 3 games are just like, you guys are talented as hell and go do what you want. We're going to win. It doesn't matter what I do. Because you're that much more talented than the other team. You know what I mean? Your guys are that much bigger. You've recruiting. It's just a different ball game, and we'll see how he does. But yeah, I'm selling the Jaguars. I like Robinson. Other than that, I mean, and the rookie, I'm still not buying. I'm not completely buying that either.
Lawrence and his.
I was talking actually about the. Yeah, I was actually talking about the running back.
Travis Etienne is his name.
Anyway, so we're on a receiver kick today, so let's go over to Jacksonville's receivers and see what we got to say about that. Where do they land?
Yeah,
here?
they also signed the Lions guy too, Marvin Jones.
So we're looking. Yes, they did. So there's DJ, and that's another reason I think the Lions are going to suck. You just lost some talent.
Yeah. I mean, they have arguably the worst wide receivers in the league.
It's going to be a bad year. The first guy that shows up on the list of receivers is DJ. What is that? Chark?
Yeah, DJ Chark. Yep.
Not Clark. It's Chark.
Yeah. He's been in the league 2 years now. This will be his third year, I'm pretty sure.
DJ Chark Jr. Yeah, I'm almost more of a Shenault Jr. fan.
Fourth year. I was wrong.
Yeah, he's had decent numbers in 2019 for sure.
He did nothing his first year, but his second year he was pretty good. But man, I had him on my team last year, and he did nothing.
I was going to say
he was injured. He was injured. Like it says 13 games he played in, but there was like 3 or 4 of those games where he didn't even like play basically.
Something to think about if you need a wide receiver number 3 for sure, since he's probably their number 1 guy at that size.
Well, yeah. If he's healthy, yeah. I mean, it'll be between him and Jones.
Who do you like? So you were saying we're talking. Let's go back to rookies and your 2 guys. Anybody?
Yeah,
thinking of?
Yeah, obviously the Cincinnati guy, Jamar Chase.
I like that. I like that this year. It seems kind of clear cut as long as you can stay away from those kind of injury things that seem to pop up.
Burrow's probably going to be coming back week 1, maybe week 2.
Is he dinged up?
But yeah. He completely blew out his knee. I think it was like week 8.
Oh, so he's still healing from that last year.
Yes and no. I mean, he's been through the training camp, and I can't remember if he played in the first game, but I mean, he's probably going to be very, very healthy come the very start. I mean, you can click on his thing right there.
I am going 13, to because I'd like to.
Yeah, I like Joe Burrow a lot. I mean, even just for fantasy quarterback this year. I mean, I'm definitely going to be looking at him.
It says he's supposed to be back week 1. But it says his mobility might be limited.
Yeah,
especially to the start of the year, which put up a damper. Blah, blah, blah.
I mean, look at his stats though before he got hurt from just last year.
Honestly, I don't even have to. The guy was on fire.
Yeah.
We can look at him.
I think he had like 2,500 yards and he had over 20 touchdowns. Like he was really, really good.
No problem. Let me pull him up.
Now he's adding like his college so he had 13 touchdowns, exaggerated, but he had a few rushing touchdowns too.
Yeah, but that's just him. That's just him starting. Yeah. Like literally, that's his first year of stats. Yeah. I'm a Burrow fan for sure. I'd be. Yeah. People can write what they want, but at quarterback, and especially the way Burrow plays, I mean, you don't actually have to be the most mobile guy in the world. You might be able to kind of play through those weeks with a couple of touchdowns, even in the fantasy world.
Yeah, I like Burrow too, especially with the other wideouts they have too. Tyler Boyd and the other guy that they took in the first or second round, was it last year or 2 years ago? T. Higgins. I mean,
yeah, Higgins was a good one for me last year.
They have a pretty dangerous looking wideouts set if they can keep all those guys healthy.
Yep. So back to wide receiver. Good to know that Burrow's still kind of limping around, but he's gonna play. And I guess if we do another podcast, Sean, before the league our draft starts, we can do a quick injury report. We'll run down. This guy's awesome. That's
probably a good idea
because it does make sense to do it right now, and it's actually important. But it's even better before that because a lot of times like the week before the league starts, somebody gets injured and they're done for the year or something like that. I don't know. Since we're talking about Ohio, let's talk about Cleveland's receivers. I've already told you how I felt about Beckham last time. Something in my gut instinct just stays away from Beckham.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I just have a hard time unless it just all lines up and I'm like, oh well, Beckham's.
Which it could too, because he is that good. Like,
I just mean like
yeah.
you know what I mean. Like let's say I end up
Hopefully,
like I have
hopefully he's past his days of trying to kick over field goal nets though.
like if Galladay was gone off this list, hypothetically, Thielen was gone, Cup was gone, Johnson was gone, Ayuk was gone, and Chase was gone. At that point, over Sutton and Higgins, I might be like, well, we'll take a gamble on. And even like with Judy and Schuster right there, at that point, I think that's when people start saying, "Oh, I'm gonna take a gamble on Beckham just because of that skill level." And you're right. Yeah, I mean, you never know, but you also do know sometimes.
I still like Beckham a lot for a top 15, top 20. I know they have him a little bit lower than that, but I know I still think he's got some leg left. I think.
Yeah.
And the Browns are going to be good this year too. So I mean, they got like a really really good defense and a really good running game. I mean, you're going to have more opportunities for touchdowns and more shots downfield. So.
All right. We are playing now half PPR league. All right. So let's go to what is this? It's half PPR. So keeping that in mind, who do you like from a receptions point of view?
You kind of broke up there the past like 20 seconds. I couldn't really hear what was going on.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
My internet connection is unstable. That is what is happening here in the basement. You can hear me now?
Yeah. It's fine now.
He can hear me.
Let's go.
Who do you like from a receptions point of view?
I mean, if you're just talking about like pure receptions, like guys that are going to get some catches,
let's say you're looking for a receiver number. Yeah,
Cole Beasley.
I like
him a lot. Cooper Kupp for the Rams, a good receptions guy.
Also another good receptions guy. Yes.
Yep. Who else?
I say Galladay. You got to be looking at Galladay.
Yeah, I don't know about Galladay. I mean, I think he'll be good for if he's healthy, 50 or 60. But
I don't care. I'll take him.
Yeah. I'm talking about like more than 70 or 80 catches. I like Moore a lot for Carolina for receptions.
Okay.
And Johnson too for Pittsburgh. I mean, he's for a half PPR league. I mean, he like that is a way low ranking for Johnson in a PPR or half PPR. That guy's going to have 80 or 90 catches this year.
We are back now to the footage of these two bros. I'm removing Sean's cheat sheet that I usually have. You have to find your own cheat sheet, goddamn. Yeah, you know, I guess why I like Galladay in a receptions point of view is because I think that's all I can really count on him for. I'm too nervous about New York, and I'd say, well, there's going to be that panic throw, right? Like the Joey check down 5-yard throw to Galladay. Oh, I know he's good enough to make the grab. He's talented.
Yeah.
I'm going to get sacked. Throws in the ball. Yeah, you get a half point. You know what I mean? I like that play for that reason. I think a lot of the other guys are kind of in those top two, 1, 2, and 3 tiers are pretty obvious that they're going to be bringing in a lot of catches. Minus Jamar Chase, honestly, for now, until I know exactly what's going to happen in Cincinnati. I just kind of hesitant on the rookies on receptions, but then again, a lot of times they come in and that's what they do get. They get 10 catches out of nowhere because the defenses are queuing in on the number 1 receiver and they're not. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see who steals the show in Cincinnati with all those wideouts being fairly talented. I also who do I like for just catches now that I'm going to try to weigh in on this.
Yeah, I mean, Parker is another guy from Miami. I mean, he's really, really talented. I mean, if he's healthy for the Dolphins, I mean,
Parker's a good one for sure.
Yeah, I like Devontae Parker a lot.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen the footage, but I've definitely checked out some of his statistics. Actually surprisingly very good.
Yeah.
Ruggs the third could be a guy to bring in some receptions for you. Might not be the biggest numbers in the world, but definitely going to get some catches. I think Waddle is going to end up being somebody who brings in a lot of catches.
He's from Miami too. Yeah, he's a really shifty guy too. I mean, he's probably going to return punts and kicks for him too. So I mean, he's going to be all over the field, I think.
Let's see.
He's just
here.
really, really fast.
Yeah, I like it. Let's see here. Getting sleepy over there.
What time? It's like 12:30. How long is this? Or damn, it's almost 1.
I mean, we didn't start till late. Man.
It was like 11:30. It was like 11:40 though, right? 11:45 maybe. I mean, we've been talking for like an hour.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, we have been talking for an hour, so if you want, you can talk about maybe some other guys that you just feel like didn't get mentioned, like
I mean, really, we've talked a lot about like the top teams and their top wideouts, but some of the teams I feel like we've missed out on are like, teams that are like not really going to be like on everyone's radar, because what like whatever they have, whether it's a new coach or rookie quarterback, or like they're just like they don't really look that good on paper this year, and like those teams are like the Jets, the Giants, the Lions, teams like that just I mean they're going to have some guys that are like one or two guys are going to like kind of surprise some people, but like it's really going to be more of like a dart throw, and like kind of you just like hoping that like one of those guys is going to like break out or whatever. Because I mean, looking at some of those depth charts or whatever, it's kind of hard to pinpoint one guy on a few of those teams like that. Like aside from like some of the teams that we've already talked about. Trying to think if there's like any other teams that have guys out there that are worth mentioning. I mean, there probably are quite a few, but another guy that's like good for catches is Crowder for the Jets. Kind of like a shorter slot guy. He's usually good for like 60 or 70 catches a year.
I was gonna say if I'm taking
I still like Crowder a lot. Also another guy we haven't really mentioned. He's kind of like he's in like some injury trouble, but he's also like on the outs with his team or whatever. Is Michael Thomas? Because last year he was hurt basically the whole year, and then he went against the team doctor's recommendation of getting surgery or whatnot. So he like did the whole off season without the surgery. And then he like came back to the team. Is like, okay, yeah, well, you still need surgery or whatever. And now he's just like, kind of like totally at like a crossroads with the team or whatever. And the team doctors about like, as far as like what to do about his medical thing that he has going on. But I mean, if he's healthy, I mean, he's still like a top 10 or top 15 receiver.
I'm glad you brought that up. I had no idea he was battling the injury and it was that complicated.
Oh yeah. He only played in like 1 or like 1.5 games last year. Yeah, I took him in my first. He was my first overall pick, he was my first round pick last year.
I guess I just didn't know that it was coming over to this year. Is what I meant by that.
Yeah.
So yeah, like if I like you were mentioning some of the Jets receivers, it was same thing with what's his face. What's his name here? Let me look. Let me see here if I can find him. Who's the other guy? Is it Corey Davis or is he?
Davis is the guy. Davis is the guy they signed from the Titans. Yeah, he's on the Jets now. Yep.
So
and they drafted a guy too. They drafted another guy out of Ole Miss too, Elijah Moore.
Yeah, so like if it's me, some of those Jets guys with the new quarterback, I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll pick them up because there's some PPR value, but for the most part, I'm gonna steer clear of the Jets, kind of how I am the Lions, just for now, until they show me different. Other guys, that you feel like who's a sleeper or anything like that? You got any sleepers out there that we haven't mentioned, like that you just feel like are not being talked about? Also, how do you feel about Deebo Samuel randomly?
Yeah. I mean, another guy who, he was on my team last year, but I really, really like Brandon Ayuk a lot for the Niners.
Okay.
He's got the playmaking ability. I just think he needs to learn the route tree a little bit. And he's got the hands, and he's got that he's got that it factor that, like, if he puts it all together, I mean, he could be a really, really special fantasy wideout. I feel like, I mean, I know San Francisco, they got a little bit of a quarterback controversy, but I still think they like, especially with their tight end coming back. I mean, if they can pick one quarterback, I mean, their offense could be really, really dangerous this year to go along with like kind of like a last year they were really beat up. Their defense was, but I think they're a team that could really, really bounce back big time this year as the Niners.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what the Niners do. And actually, who are they going with a quarterback right now?
It's probably going to be Garoppolo. That's
yeah. I mean, he's CRUD. Yeah, I think he's a. I mean, I like Kittle. Other than that, I'm kind of staying away from.
He's one of the best tight ends in the league, if not top two. I'd almost like, even for this year. I mean, Kelsey's been really, really nice, and he's been the top tight end the past like 3 or 4 years. But I'd almost put Kittle number one this year.
I mean, I don't, not over Kelsey.
Yeah,
but that's just me. I think maybe in the next couple of years, if Kittle gets a better quarterback situation, I could definitely see that happening numbers wise. Flat out skill level, I mean, I think they're definitely you're onto something there as far as that goes. But I mean, you put Kittle with Mahomes and the Chiefs offense, you know what I mean? It's kind of like that.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
and Hill right next to you.
Mahomes would make the Lions receivers look good. So I mean,
like Edwards-Helaire in the backfield, like he just can't. There's just and the Chiefs, Andy Reid, and I think there's a lot to like about the Chiefs once again this year. I know I've talked about it before, but okay. So, but still, did we really discuss though a sleeper wide receiver there? Did we do that?
A sleeper. Like, you're thinking like a rookie guy, or just like anybody really?
Rookie guy or anybody really?
I mean, a guy we haven't really talked about is Hollywood Brown for the Ravens. I mean, he's going to be a threat to have 1,000 yards this year if he's healthy. I also like the other guy that they took in the first round. I think the Ravens did, Rashad Bateman.
Okay.
He's like in my top 3 or top 4 like rookie wideouts, just for like production that he's going to have this year. I think Jackson's going to have a lot better year passing the football, kind of like going back to 2 years ago, like when he was the MVP. So I really like both of the Ravens wideouts, like a lot, really. Like I think both those guys could go over 1,000 yards if they're healthy.
I also like the Ravens wideouts. I'm glad we mentioned that because I feel like we've been talking about a bunch of teams that I'm just not too crazy about, but that's one I feel strongly about as far as offense goes.
They're really going to have a nice running game too, because I mean, Jackson's still going to mix in the run a little bit, but they also have Dobbins too, who's going to be like a dynamite top 10 running back this year, I feel like. And the Ravens are going to be a really, really dangerous team this year if Jackson can get back to the level he was playing at 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, let's see here. Who else is the Ravens got in the receiving core? So Marquise Brown.
They have a really good tight end too. Yep. Yeah, Hollywood Brown.
Who's the tight end there?
Tight end is Andrews.
That's right, Mark Andrews. I'm trying to look at.
So he's like a top 5, top 6 tight end type of guy, but a guy that'll definitely get you 600 or 700 yards pretty easily.
Yeah, I also like Bateman. It'll be interesting to see if he how quickly he becomes a fantasy football icon.
I like him a lot. I'd slot him number 2 behind Chase for rookie wideouts.
Yep. I have Chase and I would have Smith. I know you're not crazy about Smith at this point, but I mean, actually, I might move Smith down a little bit. And then maybe put what's his face in Miami from Waddle because I don't know, just because of that injury trouble. We'll see what happens. Other notables. Who's going to be the Lions guy? Let's just swing it over to Detroit real quick since we're there.
Yeah, I mean they signed Perriman, Perriman's son. I think his name's Brashad Perriman. They also have Quintus Cephas, who's probably going to be. He would be my guess for who's going to lead the Lions in receiving yardage this year. He's like the second or third year guy at Wisconsin. And they also drafted a rookie wideout too, Amon-Ra St. Brown out of USC. So those will probably be the top three guys for the Lions, but
yeah,
just not too exciting though. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is a little interesting, but as far as fantasy purposes, I'm sticking away from most of the Lions guys. Like the running back, I still like a lot, but they have a lot to prove on offense.
So honestly, just you saying those names, I'm not really that crazy about them. I haven't done too much research there, but it just sounds like like you said, one of the worst. How do you feel about Chase Claypool? So I know you mentioned Johnson.
Yeah. I mean, I just think I don't know, like Pittsburgh. It's kind of like a situation like Tampa Bay. I think where it's like, they have like 3 or 4 like wideouts who like could like have really good years, but most likely it's just going to be like 1 or 2 of them, that's going to have like the really, really insane year. And last year Claypool was kind of the guy, and this year I'm going the other way. I'm going to go with Johnson. So I think they have another guy too. I forget what his name is. It's like Washington or Smith Schuster. That's the other guy that they have. So I mean, they have like 3 or 4 wideouts, but like there's only one football though. You know what I mean? So it's.
You think Claypool's gonna? You think Claypool's the best?
Yeah, I mean it's hard to say really like what you mean by best. I mean, because like
fantasy points wise, do you think he puts out the best numbers?
It depends on the league, whether it's like PPR or half PPR.
Well, we're doing half PPR. Like I said, my theory on that too with half PPR is
like for half PPR or full PPR, I'm taking Johnson every time. Like 10 out of 10 days, I'm taking Johnson.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if not, you're saying
if it's no PPR, I think Claypool and Johnson are like almost a tie. But I'd still lean Johnson. Yeah.
Cool. Let's see. Who haven't we talked about? What do you feel about Julio Jones in Tennessee?
Yeah, I mean, another guy who's like he's kind of getting a little bit older now, and it's a new coaching staff, it's a new system. He's not going to be the number 1 receiver anymore, so he's definitely more of a risk than a reward, I think, at this point. Definitely a guy that could get over 1,000 yards and could get you more than a handful of touchdowns, but he's like 33 or 32 now, so I mean. Receivers, I mean, unless you're like Tim Brown or Jerry Rice and they play into their 40s, I mean, those guys don't grow on trees though. So I mean, I think it's gonna be a little bit tougher for Julio just because he was such a he relied a lot on that athleticism that he had earlier in his career, and I kind of see him as kind of like a Calvin Johnson case where it's like. It's going to go down a little bit quicker than some of the other guys.
So if you were going to take, if you were in the draft, hypothetically, and Keenan Allen is on the board, right? The other guys before that are kind of gone, right? And you have the choice between Keenan Allen, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Robert Woods, and Mike Evans. Do you take Keenan Allen? In that scenario,
who are the last 2 guys? Mike Evans and
Amari Cooper, Robert Woods.
Yeah, damn, I'd almost take Cooper
or even Godwin. Okay, and you're gonna take them.
Yeah,
over
or Godwin. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I do like Allen, but yeah, probably more for like a PPR league, but the other guys are just a little bit more exciting, I think. But like he's really consistent though. So I mean, it's hard not to pick him because he's only had the one year where he's been hurt, and every other year he's been really consistent.
It's just I just don't know what it is. When that pick comes up and the draft is live, I'm just like, I always feel like I'm getting screwed.
It's weird. Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I'm not a big chart. Like ever since LT and Antonio Gates left,
it's like, something okay, about the Chargers.
I don't have to take the Chargers anymore. Those two
guys
are gone.
It's like we're so far away from knowing what's really going on with that team that it's really hard to just feel like, you know what?
I don't really like him really.
He's definitely older. That's why I was just wondering, like, if it comes down to
I mean, that's not really it either. I don't know exactly what it is, but
yeah,
there's just other guys out there that I like a little bit more. But
yeah,
again, like football and like teams though, like you're gonna have like preferences. You're gonna pull for favorites or whatever. Like whether it's a guy that like went to like one of your favorite college teams, or if it's a guy that like played high school football like around here or something like that. I mean, I think you are kind of like more inclined to like pull for guys like that.
It's true. It's definitely true. I mean, I think also just your location has something to do with it. Maybe if you traveled more, you wouldn't be as biased, but
yeah.
Cool. Well, we covered some good stuff. I think there's a lot to think about. You're definitely going to see some sleepers pop up this year. So any research you can do might be helpful to you on wideout this year, especially since we're doing half PPR.
Yep.
I just know it's coming. I just know, like right now, it's a lot of standard speculation, and everybody's always looking at the rankings and the charts and what happened last year. But we'll see what happens in the land of wideout. Tyler Lockett, by the way, speaking of guys we haven't mentioned.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah.
I like Lockett.
Yeah.
Put it in your pocket and lock it. Where do you think Lockett sits? Do you think you take him before you take Thielen? Do you take him before you take Deontay Johnson?
No, I'm taking Johnson over Lockett. Thielen and Lockett though are very similar. Very similar. In my I'd probably lean Thielen a little bit more, but I mean, Lockett's a lot more explosive though, so he can give you those games where he goes over like 200 yards. You know what I mean? And like any given week, he could like win the week for you. So he's definitely a very flashy like fantasy wideout to have. I mean, not really a top one tier, but solidly in the top 2 or 3 tier. If not at the very top of the top 3 or in the top 2 there.
I like Seattle to do well this year. And speaking of like for example, versus somebody like the Lions, as far as especially from a fantasy point of view, I think Russell comes back and they just, they could very easily start clicking on all cylinders, and guy like that.
They're going to be good. I mean, they've kind of like, even last year towards the end of the year, they kind of went away from being like a passing team. But I don't know, if they have a good mix with their run game and their pass game, I mean, they're going to be really tough to strategize against, just because they have a really smart quarterback.
This is true.
He was on my team last year. He's the main reason why I even got to the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of people are selling Rodgers short too. I know it just came off an MVP season, but I still feel people are like, all about the other quarterbacks. But I could see also Rodgers coming back, and makes you wonder about some of Green Bay's other receivers. I mean, obviously Devontae.
They drafted a guy. They drafted a guy in the 2nd or 3rd round out of Clemson, Amari Rodgers, who's going to be pretty interesting. He's kind of like a smaller guy. He's like 5'10", like 200 pounds. And they also signed the former Colts guy, the Devin Funchess, who played at Michigan.
Bunches of Funches.
Yeah, Devin Funchess. So yeah, they got
What
him
were
too.
Funch's numbers on the season last year? Let me check that out.
Yeah, I forget really. I think he was injured though, so it really wasn't anything great. But I know he went to high school around here though. He went to like Farmington Hills Harrison. I'm pretty sure.
I drive through Farmington Hills all the time now.
Yep.
Let me see. Funches.
He played for Indianapolis. Before that, he played with the Panthers.
Last year, did he play last year?
He was hurt. He opted out.
Yeah, I was gonna say and then the year before that, he must have been hurt because with the Colts he had done nothing.
Yep. Yeah. So I forgot about that. Yeah, last year he opted out because of the pandemic.
And
so he didn't play.
And correct me if I'm wrong. This guy has never caught a touchdown pass.
No, he's definitely caught a touchdown pass.
Why does it say? Am I getting misinformation here?
Really? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I thought he was with the Panthers for a number of years, and he's got at least one.
No, he does. I don't know what Google was doing to me on that.
Yeah,
it's right here. He's with Indy that year. He got hurt. He did not. But before that, it was 5. His first year in the league, 5 with Carolina, then 4, 8, 4.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what Google was trying to say there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's gonna be an interesting year, man. I think we will see somebody jump out at you that you didn't expect. It'll be interesting to see who
there's always somebody that surprises. It's like, who the hell had this guy or something like that. You know what I mean? It's just,
absolutely.
That's like whether it's it could be wide out. It could be running back. I mean, a lot of times it's a quarterback too. That's like, what? Like nobody thought this guy was going to start or whatever. So it's like,
yeah, I think next time we'll just try to talk about defense and just the league in general.
Yeah.
Really quickly, we could talk about tight end if you want, because I just don't think there's a lot to say about tight end this year outside the top 10 or top 5 even really.
Yeah.
Let me just go to the list of tight ends real quick, just for shits and giggles, because I was going to try to tie it into another show, but it really just doesn't make sense. Actually, we could, because we could do quarterbacks next time. We could just wrap it up. So we'll talk about, when we talk about quarterbacks, we can talk about tight ends, because I feel like they're kind of connected. They're really connected at the hip. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's going to be.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I'm kind of fading a little bit.
Sean guy is fading into the distance. Yeah, man. Thanks for doing the show tonight. We got Mike guy in the league, so we're getting close to having it full. We have Matt guy. We know is already trying to get in, and then Scam A is a lock. Tate's, obviously going to be able to get her, and then we'll have the fraudulent Steek, Dr. Steek, and who's usually good to go as well. So we'll be ready to go. It looks like we're going to try to draft on Labor Day, because Mike guy's in Guam. So if we draft on Sunday night, it'll be like Monday at like noon for him, somewhere around like 11 a.m. to like noon in Guam Monday, and hopefully he'll have Labor Day. It seems like we keep getting auto drafters, so I really, really hope that we don't have that. I can't say that enough. It makes it more fun when everybody shows up. Yeah. It's what it's all about. Anyways, good to talk to you, Sean. And
all right, man. Yep.
Like I said, thanks for staying up, and I'll see you. I don't know when you want to do a quarterback show and then we'll do like one more. So
maybe after the next round of preseason games, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we only got a couple weeks left, so I mean, we could do them a week at a time, and that's going to be pretty much it, man.
Yeah. So, we'll get something together.
We got to have one more show before we go. We do like a quarter.
Agreed.
I'd like to do 2 though, because we do like a quarterback breakdown.
Yeah.
Break down any other kind of player, and then what we'll do on our last show is me and you will do another mock draft before, and I don't know if I'll be able to come in person, but it'll probably be better since I'm working 6 days a week to do it at a distance. We'll do like a mock draft and talk about our teams and just basically do an injury breakdown and say like here it all is like we're getting ready for draft day at that point. So.
Yep. All right, man.
All right, man. I'll see you later.
All right. Have a good night.
Chill.
Peace.
Peace.